Okay, here we have a 2016 Subaru Outback. The problem this thing is having is the key lock issue, where what's really happening is that the system doesn't know that it's in park and therefore does not unlock the lock solenoid to let you remove the key. One solution is to just remove this connector here. That disables the locking mechanism permanently. While that's a cheap and easy fix, and you don't have to take a lot of stuff apart because there's only 2 screws to take this panel off, if you leave it that way, you can take the key out while the system or while the car is in gear, and that's not safe. So what we're trying to do here is fix it permanently and really understand what the actual problem is, because the solution you get from Subaru is you need to replace a complete portion of this, and I think the part alone is $250. The real problem is there are 2 micro switches in here that control signal to the computer to tell it various things. The one that tells it that it's in park is attached to these green wires here. And if you look really carefully, you can see, if I can get you in there, let's see, we want to go into that. So you see that little switch that's moving up and down, there's a plunger, and then that vertical piece, the horizontal piece that's moving up and down right there, that's the switch. You can hear it clicking where it's actually moving the button, which is what it's supposed to do. But if you actually test it, and we plug, and this is my multimeter, it is in test mode, so all it's going to test is continuity and beep when we have continuity. So the green wires over here are going to the second plug and the 4th plug on the top of this. And let's get them jammed up in there, and then it should just go back and forth. But you see how sometimes it doesn't work? Right, like right there, it didn't work. And now it's not working. It's intermittently working. So the problem actually is, and let me show you again, right? It's not working consistently. It's working once in a while. So the internal mechanism of this switch, this micro switch in there, must be getting gummed up, and it's not consistently sending a signal. To give you an example of how this actually works, there's another micro switch here in the back that I can get to with my finger, so I will show you. That one is connected to those brown wires, or the white, and they look kind of tan. So if we go in here into 1 and 2 on the bottom, and I can get my finger in here. Here's the little switch right here. I gotta get them. It's hard to do this with one hand. There's 1. There's 2. See, it happens every time. It's consistent. That is how this one should work. And for some reason, I don't know if it's wear and tear or if it got gummed up in there, that is what the problem actually is. So the reality is you have like a $2 micro switch problem, at least in my case here. So I'm going to see if I can get this apart and replace that micro switch, and I will come back and let you know what's up. So here we are, next steps. So I had to take the pin that's in the back holding this top assembly out. It does reveal this switch. There's our switch right there. And that is the culprit and what our problem is. So I'm going to see if I've got something that I can use to replace that switch with. I think I have a couple micro switches in my stash. Okay, I ordered a part and got a switch. It's not the exact right switch, but I'm going to make it work. So to get back into this, you do have to take the console. That pops out. There's 2 screws in the back. behind the seat. On the back of the console, you got to move the seats forward to get to them. And then for this particular one, this is a 2016 Outback, all you have to do is take this side of the console out, and then you have to dig into this assembly. So that one's on top. That's just got 4 of these small clips. That comes right out. Obviously that's after you take the main console cover off. You can carefully take these off. I've already done it, but carefully take these out because we are taking this top plate off. That is going to be these clips here. There's one here, and there. There's also, trying to, hopefully you guys aren't getting dizzy, but there are those 2 clips, and then there's another one here in the front. You can see my finger. That piece comes off. Put it over here. This piece just comes right up. And the next thing that needs to happen is to get this top plate out. You have to take this speed nut. It's just a push-on nut. If you're careful, you can get it out without completely destroying it and putting it back in, although you may have to reform these little, I don't even know what you would call those, but the parts of this washer that catch and bite into the rod. So all I did was I took a small screwdriver. Actually, you can pop it off. Hopefully it didn't go into La La Land. And there it is. So be careful when you pop those off, but it should pop right back on. The first time I did that, I deformed it quite a bit, but I just took a little screwdriver and reformed it back to its original state. Now you can take this pin out. That pops up. That exposes the switch assembly. The switch that we are having trouble with is this guy right here. I was not able to get the exact model of this switch. I got one that's very, very similar. You can see that it clips in. Behind where it clips in, there are 2 posts, they call them, on there that go into this. The only one I could find and get quickly is the one where the posts and everything are on the wrong side. So I'm just going to shave everything off of the switch I have. I'm going to put some 2-face tape in there and probably a little dab of glue just to hold it in there and lock it down. And I'm going to resolder these wires. And I also need to make sure that I solder those wires in the correct fashion. So I will get that done, or I'll come back and see if I can show you what that process looks like. So here's the switch, and you can see that it's a little bit different. Number one, the lever isn't as long. It's the same manufacturer that makes this. It's called Omron. This was the only one I can get off of Amazon that is that same micro switch size. So what I'm going to do is make sure that we figure out which post to use to make sure it matches what we're doing over there. So there's, let's see, we can get it there. So if I can do this with one hand, actually I'm going to see if I can do it with 2 hands. So it looks like, set you down here, maybe you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm testing is it connected when it's open or connected when it's closed? And I believe it's connected when it's closed. And of course, my test leads are working. And the switch is dead. Okay, so we want closed. Okay, so here's the plan. This is the old switch. It went in with the posts. You can see the holes there where the posts go into. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the exact same switch. Mine's a little bit different, but the long lever came right out of the switch with a pair of needle nose. You can see right here on the side where it goes in. So all I'm going to do is swap out the lever, and then I'm going to cut the posts off of the new one, and I'm going to put a little bit of double stick tape in there, and that should do the trick. So let me see if I can set you guys down so you can see what I'm doing. So this lever should come right out, and it does. And then we're going to put the original switch's lever right back in. There it is. And voila, we got that working. So now all I have to do is get rid of these posts. Actually, I don't even think I need to take the posts off, because this one was like this. Yeah, the posts will just be sticking out, so they're not going to hit anything. So now I've got the right switch. I'm just going to solder the two leads onto, or the two green wires onto these two leads, and that should do the trick. So let's see if I can set you up for that process here. Sorry for the sloppy camera work. All right, off camera I was able to get a piece of double face tape in there, and yeah, it's in there, but I just broke one of the posts off. I think it's a little loose, so I'm going to actually have to put a little glue. Okay, here's the final product. I was able to A, swap out the lever very easily, and B, unfortunately the double stick tape, it's not sticking as hard as I'd like it to, so I put some it's the Loctite gel glue, so that should hold it in once it dries. It dries in about 5 minutes. So the moral of the story is, the reason you can't get your key out of the ignition is because this little baby switch that's like $5 from Amazon stops working. You can do this repair if you have the skills. If you buy anything from Subaru, they want to sell you this whole top plate for $200, when it's just, in fact, this switch is the problem. So very easy to fix. I would highly recommend, if you can figure out exactly what part number it is for the for the switch with the proper, and this is the original one. So you need to have the proper posts facing the proper way, and it's Omron is the name of the brand. So I was able to kind of jimmy rig it and get it working. I think I bought a 2-pack of these and it was like 15 bucks. So I will come back and report once I get everything all back together. And then the other thing I am doing is I am also installing an override switch. The other solution to this problem is to remove this connector, which then unlocks the lock cylinder pin. Only problem with that is that this, if you do that, it will allow you to take the key out of the ignition with the vehicle in gear. Could be a safety issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just splice into one of these wires. I have a switch down here, so I'm going to set this up. So even though I have fixed the problem, if it ever goes bad over here, we're going to have a little override switch down there, so I don't have to take anything apart, and then we can just flip it on when it needs to be flipped, and that's it. So I'll come back in a bit and we'll wrap it up.